So I'm sure this is like a full circle moment for you. How you feeling about being back in this position?
Yeah, I feel very thankful. You never like want to take for granted that you're going to have opportunities to. This year there's going to be 13 WNBA teams, but these aren't, jobs. This is obviously something that that a lot of people strive to do, and so for me to have another opportunity, I'm extremely grateful. Whatever role that coach wants me to do, I'm really excited for it and going to do my very best. And so I'm really, really ready for it and refreshed and really excited about the upcoming, just all of it, somewhat of the stuff leading up to the season, and then obviously the season and just seeing how I can best be, impactful for the team.
When the situation with the Gophers ended, how much were you kind of itching to get back onto a sideline, or were you ready to take a break for a while?
I was ready to take a break. Yeah, I was ready to take a break. I think it was. I was at that point just. I was ready for a little bit of a. It was, I guess pressure. You put a lot of pressure on yourself, like as a player, and we did a lot of great things here. Those are a lot of big games and big moments, and then transitioning over to being a head coach, it was probably time for me. It's best for me, and my family and those around me to kind of just take a little break. And now it just felt like I said, when the opportunity presented itself, talking with coach, it felt right, and so I feel like I'm in a better place to be able to help the team, and excited about this group and being around everybody and doing my best to help the team achieve its goals.
When you were a Lynx player, did you ever feel like you would ever come back in a capacity like this?
I never thought about it too much, really. And then my last year, things happened at the U of M so fast that I never really had time to really think about it, and the last, I guess I would say, year or two, it crossed my mind, but it was, I never really want to, think of something or until the opportunity is like officially there, and then, because otherwise it's kind of like, well, maybe you never know. And so then when obviously talking with coach, it was something more I put, a lot of thought into, and a lot of, and I mean, not a ton of thought, because I was pretty much like, yeah, I need to do this. I need to give it, coaching aspect at least another shot, and then, being in my role as an assistant on the staff, I think it's a great way to get back in.
How do you feel like your role coaching under Cheryl will kind of help you as a coach developing in your own right?
Yeah, I understand her expectations and understand what it takes, and how she, from when I played, just how things were structured and how we would go about our business. But, everybody evolves, so there's a lot I'm going to learn as well as we continue to go here, because she's changed and I've changed, but I think that still you have that backbone, you have that relationship from when I played. You still have all those years of how things work and what worked and things. So you have that, but yet there's new stuff, there's new technology, there's new perspectives. I mean, 6 years or 6 seasons, this is a long time. A lot has changed, a lot of the style that the game is played, the schemes and different things. I'm really excited to learn, how all these things work. And but the first step is being here, and that's what we've, I guess, done today.
What were those conversations like with Cheryl? Did she reach out to you first? Did you reach out to her first? How did it work?
After the season, kind of, staff changes and things were happening. She reached out, we connected, and we talked, and it was, for me, I was just instantly, like I said, excited and ready to go.
This is, like I said earlier, just a full circle moment for you.
Yep.
Spending the majority of your playing career in one place and now being able to coach. What does that mean to you?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I keep getting lucky. I don't know. I just am like, I don't know. Obviously I've worked hard, and you try to just do things the right way and those things, but also just have had a lot of people in my life that have really been there for me and given me those opportunities, and I'm thankful for every opportunity that I've had. And, no matter how things, turned out, you have to be grateful for the opportunity. And so, I am extremely fortunate that, when I was growing up, we didn't have the Minnesota Lynx here. There wasn't a WNBA. And so now, like I said, the only thing I've ever worked in is basketball. And so I'm extremely lucky, and I won't take that for granted. And I'll work extremely hard to put my best foot forward and to do my very best for the players and for Coach.
We saw you, that viral moment as previously talked about of you kind of coaching a little bit on the sidelines during that time. What's it like now?
Listen, I pointed to one player that was open and everybody could have done that. I kind of laugh because I just know how much goes into like what coaches do to prepare, like what they do to prepare for those games and those situations and those things. And so it's kind of and I think more or less just as somebody who's been in those moments, like as an alum, it was a cool moment that was captured, and everything is pretty much captured now. But you clearly, you never lose kind of that like vision and that different aspect of what you can do, as an alum and as somebody who just loves basketball.
How excited are you? You went through this as a player and now as a coach. I know this last season wasn't what you would have wanted to see for the team, but how are you feeling now about being able to kind of influence what happens on the court and, helping the team be able to hoist the trophy like you did?
Yeah, well, I think, having understood, I was able to go to, a bunch of finals throughout my career, won 4, lost 4. So you understand a little bit of kind of what that is to kind of put that behind you and then gain this, kind of new perspective on how to now how to move on, or just different things that I did as a player to be able to kind of get back to that point, which, was kind of every other year there for a while. So we definitely had our fair share of disappointments towards the end. But I don't know. I think just having that perspective, and same thing with Becky, just having that perspective of, this is what worked for us, this is what we did, and this is how we were able to really come back the next year and regroup, and then a bunch of those years that worked out with the championship.
Everybody always says the ultimate goal is to win a championship, but what is your goal now as an assistant coach for this Lynx team?
To do whatever is needed, whatever I can do to help Coach have the team in the best possible situation and help the players. I think that's something I'm really excited about, and hopefully, doing that at a really high level for the group, but just whatever it takes to be, somebody who's positive and, ready to be in here and work every single day. There's so many people that are still here that helped our group go through the things that we were able to accomplish. And so, I really feel like that that's always somewhere that you can kind of come back to because of the culture that that Coach has created and that the organization has created. And so I know, I know everybody feels that way of being able to come back for different retirements and different celebrations. And so I do feel like this is always somewhere that you can come and feel comfortable and be yourself and just enjoy being around the team and enjoy working and getting better.
That's all I got. You survived.
Thank you. That was a tough 11. That was a tough 11. Let me tell you about it.